بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Good morning, distinguished guests, gentle ladies and gentlemen. Today, my presentation will be very general, going through the history until future. Well, mainly the speech will be about what is it that could make the development sustainable. What are the elements in general? So I'll be touching some of these elements and requirements to make it a successful, sustainable economy in the country. The first thing I like to say is human capital is very important, especially in the UAE, because they take care of the people. And the main goal is to make people happy. That's why you have a happiness minister. So that's why they all talk about human capital. What is it we need to do to make sure that the human capital gets the services that makes him or her happy? So if you look at it, this is what has convinced us to direct all our resources to building the individual. Doesn't matter what else, it's what is it? It's building the individual. And then wealth is not money, however, wealth lies in men. And here men is general, it means people. And of course, this is Allah Yarhamah, Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan. He said it. Plus he also said that I don't want industry. I want to build people who will build the industry. This is how it is. And again, another true leader said that the Federation of the United Arab Emirates, if you look at all this, has continued to rely on what? On the true wealth, which is people. Again, talking about the people. So the concentration, the focus is always on the people. Allah Yahfadha, Sheikh Khalid bin Zayed Al Nahyan. And then, yes, we seek to make people happy, and making people happy will be our objective and mission until it becomes a permanent and deep-rooted reality. So it is the happiness of the people. That means everybody will serve the people. In the private sector, public sector, any organization always serves the people to make them happy. The positive leader does not succumb to circumstances. He or she makes the best out of them in order to build a new future for the people. Again, it focuses on people. Allah Yahfadha, Sheikh Muhammad bin Rashid Al Maktoum. And of course, it says that if we invest in education now, then after 50 years, we'll be celebrating when we export the last barrel of oil. That means in 50 years, it was said 4 years ago, in 50 years, we'll be sustainable. This is what he means by it. And also, no place for those who lack science and knowledge. So it's very important because the future is technology right now. The technology could stay maybe for 50 to 100 years until something else would come. So right now, we have to focus on technology and sciences. Allah Yahfadha, Sheikh Muhammad bin Zayed Al Nahyan. Now, I'll go quickly. These are my things, the traditional vision, disruptive education, research and business development. I add the word business, which is not the R&BD, innovation, disruptive technologies, and summary. It takes me 2 hours to finish, but I'll finish it in 40 minutes. Well, vision, strategic vision after oil, to achieve a long-term, sustainable, prosperous, and productive lifestyle after oil for young generations. So what we're trying to do is, what is it we need to do to make it sustainable, prosperous, productive? The lifestyle that we are right now should continue even after 50 or 100 years. And of course, there are requirements for this one. These are the requirements. First of all, quality education. Quality and only quality education. Second, research and business development. Underline on the word business. I'll talk about it more in detail. Innovation, incubation, entrepreneurship centers. Last but not the least, which Ittisalat gives the service, which is robust, secured, high-speed, seamless, and reliable ICT infrastructure. We need all these together to make it reliable for the coming 5G. Now, what is it, if we adhere to these requirements or meet these requirements, what will happen? The goal is made in UAE, sold globally. Because oil is not something that will stay forever. If you don't build our knowledge now and produce, there's no future for us. So we have to have made in UAE globally. And this is my motto. I keep telling since 15 years, I'm talking about made in UAE globally. It's happening, but it's slow. Now, if you look at the timeline of what happened and the milestones in the history, at the beginning it was just wired communications. It started with Alexander Graham Bell in 1876, and then later on it became wireless by Marconi in 1899, the first experiment in English Channel, and then later on discrete communications, which started by Nyquist in 1928. It's called the Nyquist bound sampling theorem. And then digital communications started when Shannon had his three main theorems of information capacity theorem, and also the invention of the transistor in 1948. 5 satellite communications, Sputnik in 1957. Then you have optical communication, laser, invented in 1958. Then the birth of internet. This is the age of it. Started the birth with 1969 by ARPANET. In 1990s, we lived in the world of internet. So internet age, world internet networking, and then information age, data manipulation, 2000s, and then knowledge age, 2010s. We are now in knowledge age, and of course, in the future will be cognitive digital age, which is robotics and cognitive intelligence. So it's smarter than artificial intelligence. This is what smarter AI 2020s. Now we look at the four industrial revolutions. We always look at the last. We are talking about the fourth industrial revolution 4.0. It has some elements. The first element is cloud computing. Then you have nanotechnology, you have biotechnology, you have bio-nanotechnology also, you have robotics, you have artificial intelligence, big data, Internet of Things, and blockchain. These are the elements that create the fourth industrial revolution. Let's look at disruptive education. This is what I said. This is what one of the elements of the sustainability of the development. Smarter institutions that deliver digital ubiquitous educational services to any student, from any instructor, anywhere and anytime, efficiently using digital pedagogical tools based on what? Again, robust ICT infrastructure, always there. If it's not there, then it's no use to do any of these. Why I call it disruptive, you know later. Now, there are some elements for being disruptive in education. One of them is technology as a tool. We need to introduce techno-edutainment that gets the attention of learners. So we want learners to learn. We don't use our old ways of learning or teaching. We need to do something that will attract the students into learning. Learn anywhere, anytime, by any means. Virtual reality as a face-to-face. People say we need a face-to-face. Virtual reality will do that through cloud computing and Internet of Things. And then curriculum will change. And curricula, they will all change. That's why you need adaptive curricula and adaptive learning outcomes. This will be the trends. Why is important? First of all, market change, job requirements, rise and fall of specific job descriptions. There are so many things that will disappear one day. And even if you look at today, the medical doctors, the physicians, in the future will be actually medical engineering. So a practitioner should know engineering in order to become a doctor or physician. Innovative faculty. Faculty shouldn't use rote learning. Rote learning is killing the education sector. So we have to make sure that innovative learning, thinking out of the box, never contain yourself, and then delivering creative curricula. Research-oriented learning, which is broadening the scope of mind, even in schools, not universities only. Of course, it depends on the standard of research, but it starts from school. Team and collaborative working habit. This is always true. You have to work with a team. You can't do it alone. And of course, innovative and creative thinking, you need to tease the minds of the student in order to be inquisitive. Once you are inquisitive, you have turned the person into becoming an entrepreneurship later. And last but not the least, create environment of L2L, which means love to learn. If a student loves to learn, then that student can be successful. The new generation are smarter than us, but we teach them the way we want to learn. This is where the problem is. It's not the next generation, it's our problem. So we need to make sure that we do it, love to learn. What are the objectives of if you want to get a degree or school, high school, what is it? You need to achieve course learning outcomes, and you need to achieve program learning outcomes. If you do both together, you get a degree, right? It takes you 4 years. In university, it takes 12 years in school. And also, objective is love to learn, experiment to learn, explore to learn, work to learn, and innovate to learn. If these elements are in school, instilled in the students, you will get innovative students in the future. Disruptive education explained, a flexi-time educational system. Allocation-independent education, education on the move, driverless cars, a flexi instructor system, any worldwide instructor, and an open time degree system. This is the disruption, an open time degree. And of course, you always have the robust ICT infrastructure. Disruptive, no worries of receiving education in terms of time, place, instruct, and condition. Thus, a 12-year schooling could be reduced to a minimum of 9 years. So you need to study 12 years. We can't go less than 9 because of maturity. And then, university degrees could be obtained in a year or less or more. Why do you need to make sure you have to need 4 years? Why? If you can learn 24 hours a day, so anytime you can learn. So that means a semester can be 1 month, not 4 months, and so on. So you can graduate earlier. This is the disruption I'm talking about. Then research and business development. I'll show you some statistics to show you where we are in the Arab world. And we are in a bad shape. We are in a very bad shape. If you look at the spending of R&D, which for me is R&BD, with respect to the GDP, you look at 28% of the global R&D spending is in North America. If you look at Middle East, it's only 2.3%. That's how bad we are. And still, you can see the more of this coming. This is a graph in 2016. You could see that the only Arab country was Qatar, which was 2.7 or 8. And there was no, except Egypt, but it's very small in size of the expenditure, but also in terms of per GDP is very low. Of course, South Korea was number 1, Israel was number 2. In 2017, what happened? Qatar came back 2.5 because of political issues. Israel went over, and was number 1. And still, Egypt became better a little bit, going 0.6, but still it's not that we expect. At least we should be 2. If you look at the global R&D, most of it is built on salaries. When we have Research Center, University of Dubai, most of it goes to salaries. That's always 30% of any is, and then it goes to materials and capital spending. The others are smaller. Now let's look at the gross expenditures. United States has the highest, is 514. That's why you can see a big circle in that graph. And then second is China. And if you look at Qatar was 2.7, which is 9.95 billion. And then Saudi Arabia was 6.84, but it's only 0.4, which is less than 1. And then 0.43, Egypt, same thing. It's higher than Saudi Arabia, but at the end, the value is lower. UAE, we want to look at UAE. In 2014, it was 0.694. We have never reached 1 even. So there's a big issue, problem. We need to change the culture of research and development. And in 15, it became better, 0.8. I don't have more statistics later, but expected is growing. If it's growing, it's positive. So otherwise, we are in trouble. Will not be sustainable. One thing you have to know that why is United States always spending so much money on research and development? You can see technology leadership, all of them are first in the United States, advanced materials, agriculture, commercial aerospace, all of them except automotive, where Japan comes first, because they spend a lot on research and development. If you look at the future 2020, you can see that the most important will be information technologies. We talk a lot about artificial intelligence, but it's only 17%. And you look at big data, software, and all the robotics, all these technologies, but the highest is information technology in general, big data, software analysis, which is analytics maybe, robotics, automation, nanotechnology, sustainability, cloud, and it goes on. There is also quantum computing, which is 8%, is going to grow a lot, and personalized medicine. Now, what are the constituents of research and development? We have to look at this to solve the problem of the Arab world. The first constituent is the culture. We need to change the culture of those who are doing research. The problem is in the Arab world, and also in UAE, we do research to be promoted from assistant to associate, no associate to full professor, or just publishing a paper and putting in the drawers. So what we need to do is change the culture, put some business sense in it. We have to put some business sense in it. That's why we need to do some, look at the constituents and then do some awareness campaign and change the culture of what we need to do for research, either to do patents or produce a product that will add a value to the country. The second constituent is academia. Academia is the main thing of research. It's the main sector for research. Why? They always say who comes first, academia or industry? Which one should start first? Is it a chicken egg problem? It's not. Academia, if they prove themselves, the industry will come to them. That's why we did the University of Dubai. Once we proved ourselves, now we have 2 research centers serving the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center and Dubai Electronic Security Center. So we need to do that. Academia should start, prove themselves, and then the industry will come. Industry, they have problems, we need to solve them. This is the third one. And the fourth one is the government. The government should initiate, should put regulations. Once they do that, it's integrated all together. The last but not the least, I differentiate between private and industry, that the private sector should play the role of what is known as venture capitalist, partner, corporate social responsibility. They fund this kind of researchers. The third element is innovation, and incubation, and entrepreneurship. We know the UAE's national strategy in 2015 for innovation was, it serves 7 sectors. It serves the transportation, health, education, water resources, renewable energy, space, and technology. These are the 7 sectors that it covers. So every effort and endeavor in the country should serve these 7 sectors. Transport, health, education should be disrupted. We don't go back to the rote learning. It doesn't work. Water, renewable energy, space, and the last, technology should be also disrupted. We should produce our own technology, not import it from abroad. Now this is something we need to look at it to be innovative. Never underestimate the value of idea. Every positive idea has within it potential of success. So don't underestimate. Even though it fails, it could succeed later. The biggest risk is not to take the risk. Of course, this is said by Sheikh Mohammed, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, Allah yahfadha. And also it says you miss 100% of shots you didn't take. So be bold, be brave, do it. You fail, try again, you'll succeed at the end.
Passport GM250.
Sometimes the greatest danger of most of us is that not our aim is too high, but it's too low to reach it. We need to make sure that no, try the higher one. What is it we need to do? For any research, any product, it should serve humanity. Try not to become a man of success, but rather to become a man of value. So add value to humanity. But Thomas Edison says something else. Anything that don't sell, I don't want to invent. So you need to make money, but at the same time you need to serve community. You need to serve the humanity. So both together works. If you don't make money, you'll go hungry, right? You need to make money. So it's not bad to make money, but make sure you go according to the ethics. Well, this is about patents. If you look at patents,
Tatiana?
IBM was always been number one, 9,000. That's why it's the only company that has been
Right
sustainable
paper.
until now. And then the others go on.
And give
But you
to
look at
Hassan and
UAE,
Near can come.
all of it
Second
together, we
to
don't
last
reach
one.
even 100
Okay? Write it
patents.
down, please.
Of course, this year, UAE University by itself had only 11. So I think it will go like 3 times more than this. But still, it's
They're
low.
already late.
We have a problem
They're
here.
already late.
Did you tell him that he needs to finish the
Anytime you talk about innovation,
35%.
technological
0.5 will
innovation
start
touches everything. It touches
0.5.
the entrepreneurship, it touches the fourth industrial revolution, it touches virtual reality and augmented reality,
Did you read the
sensors,
questions?
human enhancement, biotechnology, artificial intelligence, robotics, advanced materials, 3D printing, blockchain, and then education and skills, and telecommunications, and last but not least, information technology. So it touches so many areas.
Moderating.
That's why the future should be innovation and technology.
Tatiana, where is Tatiana? We did my bag from Nick. I tell
So
her.
if you have an incubation center in the country, let's say, what are the elements that will make it successful? The problem with incubation centers in here we have, you have an idea,
First seat,
work,
there is a bag
and you'll
on
get
the seat,
a
right?
nice product, and you will fail.
Yes, this was first row.
This is not what it is. When you look at it, you give all the related services here, this is all the related services to the incubatee, but we have to serve also the one who has an idea, these elements that make him or her successful. Marketing, business development, you go into IP management, recruitment, VC access. We don't have any VC in the country. And that is a big issue again. We need to create VC groups or VC funds to make
Focus on day 2.
the R&BD successful. If you look at the successful story, which is Silicon Valley, why was it successful? First of all, universities in R&BD was there, Stanford University and UC Berkeley. That's how it started. Skilled knowledge workers,
Later,
graduates of
maybe,
the
but-
aforementioned universities, early adopters. There's a government. The government should, at the beginning,
Thank you.
it has to pitch in. And then it leaves the others to grow with the private sector. But at the
different
beginning,
methods for
you as
payment.
military
Now
were
soon
too
there
willing
will
to
be
buy
no more
new and
banks.
unproven products.
How was this changed?
And then, of course,
Part
all
of
the
the
services there in
There will be soon
Silicon
no more
Valley.
waiting in
If you
line
look
for
at
you to
bank,
go.
investment banks,
The food is
law
there
firms,
away.
recruitment agencies, marketing,
What are the
anything
pros?
you find to become successful
Losing
is
growth,
in that.
anything. What
Available
is
in
the
venture capital.
advent of
I like to use
self-employed?
1974,
How
they
will
had
we have
150
the cars
VC
of the
firms.
future? Our
150.
behavior in the car, and what
And that's
are the
1974. We don't have one in the
challenges?
country.
The way we do
Of
business
course,
is changing.
outsourcing is there.
Mobile video,
Why is it
everywhere.
successful?
How will
This is
this
the
change
only
affect our
organization in the
lives?
world that's leaderless.
Change our
There's no
mobile health
CEO.
on us. What are the pros and
They
cons
tried it in
connecting
Arizona.
the doctor in this fashion?
They called it Silicon Desert, didn't work. They tried it in Portland,
very
in
futuristic.
Oregon, Silicon Forest, it didn't work because it has a CEO. That's why it was
We
successful.
can go sit down, okay, and then you will call us. But someone at 05, after 5
Now,
minutes,
in
have
UAE,
time.
innovation is appreciated. That's why we have those
very good.
awards, annual drones for good award, international $1 million. It is frozen now until we are trying to improve it, and then we'll come back again to announce it. Same thing, annual robotics and AI for good award, $1 million international.
at Euclid Pass.
Same thing, frozen now. It's
Wi-Fi.
Emirates Energy Award for MENA region
بعتوا لك اياها ورقه.
every 2 years, and there's Hamdan bin Mohammed Innovation Award for Project Management. And the last but not the least is 10X. 10X, of course, is where we are going
Deja vu.
to leap in the future, to the future. And it's not something that we have to take it easily. This is something great. It's happening in Dubai. And all the government entities are competing to be 10 years ahead of all the world. Either 10 years ahead, 10 times ahead, 10 times bigger, 10 times smaller, 10 times more efficient. It's 10X. And this is where the disruption is coming. All of the projects that I've seen, I'm a judge in it,
Smart.
all of them are disruptive. You can't believe what they are doing in Dubai now. Disruptive technology and IoT, machine intelligent quotient. In the future, we'll buy television depending on IQ. How much is IQ? We're going to. So thinking we are going to have devices thinking humanly like humans, acting humanly, thinking rationally, and acting rationally. This is how the new device will come. So it'll be more human-like, rational decisions.
But do you have
Machine IQ could be in
صور له.
Television IQ.
حط أول
A television could have an IQ of 100. You buy it for 5,000
صورها
dirhams. If it's 120, you buy it for 6,000 dirhams, depending how intelligent
250.
that machine is. Coffee maker, refrigerator, air conditioned house, car, road
Yeah,
navigator,
250, hey.
and phones, and the list goes on. It could be anything. Energy harvesting. In the future, most of the energy dissipated will be recycled and harvested back. So if you look at, there's a solar energy, there's also movement, car is moving on the road, we can regenerate the energy. Then it's electromagnetic waves. You know, electromagnetic waves, if we have them all filtered into one frequency, the power will be huge. This space, all the frequencies of the world are in the space, but they don't add up the energy. If they filter them to put them in one frequency, it can burn my hand. This is how we need to do electromagnetic waves. And then, of course, this is electromagnetic wave. The other one was the heat. Moore's law challenged. Quantum computers could be one day replace silicon. Quantum has qubits, not bits only. So quantum computers aren't limited to 2 states. They encode information as quantum bits. So you can have parallel processing much faster than the simple binary code computers. Qubit represents atoms, ions, photons. It can have 8 states. It can have more, 16 states. So this is where the parallelism come in. And this will have much more faster. It has the potential to be millions of times more powerful than available. Of course, I've not put DNA computers. DNA computers will be even more. It's just in the beginning stages. A drop or teardrop could have the same power of all the computers in the world. DNA computing. That's also coming. Of course, 5G. This is, I think, I call it the ultimate G's of all the 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where it will be, it's going to work in millimeter waves, and it's utilize it mainly to 20 gigahertz. Of course, it can go to 300. They're utilizing all that. Energy efficiency, spectral efficiency. It's also going to be a CRAN, Internet Cloud, so which is it's cloud radio access network approach, and then moving from cell-centric to device-centric. It'll be more intelligent, the device. It works as a base station sometimes, or you can use the unused frequency according to the decision. And more intelligent terminals, mitigating interference, communicating directly with other devices. All these are part of the 5G, of course. We talk about massive MIMO, full duplex, and machine-to-machine communications. 5G will be, I think, the thing that is, we say goodbye latency. Hello, nanosecond, what do you call it? Let me see. Real time. Nanosecond, real time, and no latency. This will make the world of medicine easier. You can do remotely operations without worrying about latency, without worrying about anything else, the speed and so on. This is a true technology that's coming. And I think we're going to implement 2020, Salat, right? 2020? Singularity is near when humans transcend biology. By Ray Kurzweil is a book, but I'll not cover everything. It says that the 3 overlapping technologies will feature genetics, nanotechnology, and robotics, and strong CI, cognitive intelligence. He says that 2045, Ray says that the computer's intelligence will be as good as human beings' intelligence. And I don't agree with it completely, because we are also evolving as the computers are evolving. So we'll always be one step ahead. But that's what he claims. Then there is the cognitive antivirus technology. There is a book called the Cognitive Early Warning Predictive System. This is a book that actually will use the digital immunity for mimicking the biological immunity. So we'll have vaccines as human beings. And this is by Rocky Terminini. So what it has is the smart cloud vaccinations as a service. So now you don't worry about, it's not antivirus, it's vaccination. You can never get that disease again.
Vaccination. هذه حلوة.
So one of them is, all these software in platform and infrastructure, vaccine and health as a service. Internet of Things, of course, you all know what Internet of Things is, but the main thing is a self-configured network whose purpose is to connect all things, and this thing should have naming, sensing, which is sensors, and processing abilities. I think they're talking about 50 billion devices in 2020. I expect more than that will be connected. And if you look at Internet of Things, what it can do, don't worry about these, but this is very important. Now you can learn through Internet of Things. Study with me anytime and anywhere. A student is in a car, he or she could learn from the Internet of Things.
يلا بالخدمة أنا بالخدمة. بس يوصل.
Now in medicine, it's very important to use Internet of Things. Internet of Medicine, a special case of Internet of Things. Healthcare telematics, it's all to with healthcare telematics is all about data sciences, and then medical records and so on, medical warehousing. Telemedicine is the old one. The new one is virtual reality medicine. So you can do it actually yourself, an operation, surgery. You don't have to tell others to do it. And then mobile medicine, smarter medicine, Internet of Things, micro electromechanical systems. You can swallow a capsule that will take care of your body with some medicine or cut something. The problem is security. If somebody hacks into your body, you are dead. So, and the body area sensor network is another one that's IoT. Olympics 2020 in Tokyo, they're using completely Internet of Things. So even the robots, the teasers to attract tourists, but everything will be Internet of Things. The shoes, the t-shirt, the short, whatever you're wearing, it will be connected to somewhere. Either connected to a doctor, I'm sprinting and my heart is beating high, the doctor will tell me slow down, now go faster, my trainer can see what I'm doing, so it'll be more efficient. Everything will be connected, the wearables, the smart stadiums, everything will be in 2020. So we have to go to 2020 and see what they're going to do in Tokyo. Age is not an issue in the technology world. You can see even that guy is doing it, so I think much smarter generations are coming. Now, what is the ecosystem I talked about? It's education, it's basic and applied research and business development, and incubation and startup. Put them together as an ecosystem, you'll get made in UAE sold globally. But what is made in UAE sold globally? It's not only technology. You can even write a book that can be sold globally. Literature can be sold. We always publish books that can be sold only in UAE. They'll not add to your GDP. Art, technology, cinema, medicine, industry, and even a boutique could be franchised, then becomes made in UAE sold globally. A restaurant could be franchised, then becomes made in UAE sold globally. So the summary.
No need for summary.
What are the requirements to build a sustainable economy? Quality and quality education. In research and business development, you need funding and you need to establish venture capital funds. Incubation and Entrepreneurship Center, made in UAE sold globally. And the last but not the least is ICT infrastructure. The main thing I didn't talk about, it'll take me another 15 minutes, is of course smart, fair and committed leadership is the main requirement for a sustainable economy. So leadership is number one. When I talked about these, if you don't have the leadership, what we have in the country, the two Sheikh Mohammeds and all of them together, they work hard to make it happen. Whatever we are seeing here is because of the leadership and the transparency of our leadership. Summary 2 are the main elements of research. One should be basic research, 20%. We don't need it now. Research and business development, 50%. And research and business development should be 30%. So you have to put this together. You can't just do all business, something you need to develop for the industry, and something you need to do just to be promoted. Or the basic sciences, but this should be a part of it also.
Thank you.
What does Schwab say? We need leaders who are emotionally intelligent and able to model and champion cooperative working. They'll coach rather than command. They'll be driven by empathy. This is why you attract people. not ego. The digital revolution needs a different, more humankind leadership, and this is what we have, and this is exactly what he's saying. So, this commercial
Thank
break,
you.
University of Dubai. I'll just go quickly. You don't need to know it. This is the building, by the way, of
Thank you.
University of Dubai. It's a green building and it's a smart building. Of course, at the end, the future favors the bold always. You have to be bold to decide. Future is what our imagination leads us to, and the future is what we create now. And of course, future imagination is limitless for the future. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Doctor.